got to know whether or not they're presidents of crime.
The American people would never vote for socialism. He said, under the name of liberalism, the American people will adopt every fragment of the socialist program.
The Prepper Podcast is an up-to-date survival podcast based on military, wilderness, and modern-day survival and may be found at theprepperpodcast.com. I'm Ken Jensen, and this is the podcast about everything survival. My goal is to teach you strategies on self-reliance and to develop survival skills and critical thinking in everyone, resulting in a more resilient and enjoyable life. If you didn't know what MOLLE stands for, that women and men have different hiking pack sizes and shapes, or how to properly measure yourself for sizing, then listen up. MOLLE stands for modular, lightweight, load-carrying equipment. Yes, the sizes of men and women are different. They also have design shape differences. You measure your torso from the base of your neck to the top of your hip bone. I will go into more detail with each of these as I discuss how to choose a bug-out bag based on the proper size, the proper measurements, what options are available, and what pockets each one has, so that you don't destroy your shoulders and don't have to stop every 3 minutes to get a drink of water or eat a snack, and so that you aren't falling over sideways, tripping over everything, and cramping your style. The show notes may be found at theprepperpodcast.com/105 or at theprepperpodcast.com/choose your BOB. That's BOB for bug out bag. I am continuing my series on bugging out. By the time I am finished with this little series, we probably will have discussed if you should bug out, selecting and packing your bug out bag, bug out vehicles, bug out locations, and even more. So let's get into today's episode. Get a comfortable bug-out bag of proper size. Are you a minimalist who keeps more than a granola bar, or who keeps little more than a granola bar in your bag, or do you feel that you need to fit a skyscraper, 300 Band-Aids, an AK-47, and a puppy in your bag? If you follow my tips, it doesn't matter what size bug-out bag you want, you'll be able to find it. So let's start with getting a lightweight pack that will hold everything that you need. You need to carry enough gear that will cover most scenarios without overdoing it. When feet become miles, ounces become pounds. If you think that you're going to go hiking for a long period of time with a really heavy bug-out bag, you've got another thing coming. And I'm going to repeat that again. When feet become miles, ounces become pounds. Little differences make a big difference whenever you're walking a long distance. If you go hiking much, you know that one simple mantra. By following this guide, you can determine what size pack is best for you. Let's look at 1 to 2 nights. If you're going to be out for 1 to 2 nights, then the capacity that you're probably going to need in your bag is going to be 20 to 50 liters. And the weight that you're probably going to want is 1.5 to 4.5 pounds. So 1.5 to 4.5 pounds, and that is bag weight without gear. Okay, so if you're going to be staying out 2 to 3 nights, your capacity that you probably will need is 50 to 60 liters, and that is a bag weight of 2.5 to 5 pounds. If you're going to be out 3 to 5 nights, you're going to want 60 to 80 liters of capacity, and a bag weight that's probably going to be around 2.5 to more than 5 pounds. If you're going to be out for 5 or more nights, then the capacity that you're going to want is probably going to be over 80 liters. And the bag weight is probably going to end up being 4 to 6 pounds. Based on the chart that I've given you, determine what your need is in capacity. A few things to keep in mind, though. Bigger isn't always better. It's not. Bigger isn't always better. Bug outs are extremely stressful as it is. And they are not the time to be adding weight to your back. My recommendation is learn as many skills as possible, reduce the amount of gear that you have to carry, and reduce the size and weight of your bag. The typical person with the typical knowledge would do well to grab about a 50 to 60 liter pack for most situations. Proper fit of your bag is important, so let's choose a pack that fits you, not just some random bag. To obtain the proper fitting pack, let's measure your torso, not your overall height. You can't choose a bag by your overall height, no matter how many people tell you that. Okay, the only real way to measure for your bag is your torso. There are people 4 foot tall with a long torso, okay? There are people 7 foot tall with a short torso. Bags don't fit for height. They fit for torso size. Okay, your body design is different than anyone else's. Well, measuring for a pack is extremely easy. Most manufacturers will use a measurement from the base of your neck to your hip bone. Okay, that's the base of your neck where it meets your shoulders down to the top of your hip bone. Not where guys wear their pants down below their waists, the top of your hip bone. Women and children designs are different than men's. The straps have completely different shapes based on the wonderful different shapes of a female's body. They have completely different shapes, and the torso sizing is different as well. So don't get the wrong pack because, quote unquote, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. I'll just get whatever pack I want and I'll make do. No, get one that fits. Take the time and the effort to get one that fits, because when you really need it, that's when you're going to regret it. Not today, not even on your hiking trip next week. It's when it really matters. That's when you're going to regret it. So let's go over the typical sizing of a basic manufacturer, or the basic sizing of a typical manufacturer, okay? So we're going to talk torso length versus size. So typical manufacturers, they're going to make a, if you have a torso length up to below and up to 15.5 inches, the size that you're probably going to choose is an extra small. If your torso length is 16 to 17 and a half inches, then the size that you're going to choose is probably a small. Now, I don't know if I just said that correctly. 15 and a half and lower is extra small. 16 to 17 and a half is going to be small. 18 to 19 and a half inches in torso length is going to be a medium or a regular. 20 inches or more is going to be a large or a tall. So get to your gear easily when it matters by choosing the right pack. If you don't want to unload every bit of the contents in your bag just to get to some of your gear, then you're going to have to choose the right pack. When it matters most, you can get to your gear by choosing the right pack and understanding its parts. Choose one that organizes and compartmentalizes everything so it's easy to get to your stuff. How to pack your bug out bag for long distance trekking. Let's go over how to pack your bug out bag for long distance trekking. Okay, so airlines do it. Okay, so if you want to correctly pack your bug out bag for long distance trekking, you have to know one thing. Don't place all your gear on one side or in one pocket. Okay, airlines won't do it. You wouldn't do it in your automobile, all right? If airlines did it, they would fall out of the sky because they would have too much weight over on one side. You can't overload an airplane to one side and expect it to stay in the air. You wouldn't do it in your car, because if you did, if you packed your car like that, you're going to end up messing up the suspension system over time. You're going to cause unnecessary wear and tear on one side of your vehicle. So don't place all your gear on one side or in one pocket of your bag. Give thought to weight distribution so you don't strain your back and shoulders. Easily carry your gear with a properly packed bag. Hiking packs are designed for long trekking and have a somewhat standard design based on years of research. Years of research. Many times they will have the same pockets on them. These are the basic compartments of most hiking packs. The main compartment, the sleeping bag compartment, water bottle pockets, hip belt pockets, top lid pockets, and front pocket. The main compartment can hold the bulk of your items. The main compartment is large enough and will easily carry the bulk of your items. Because it is so large and has very little additional dividers, it's a versatile pocket for large items. But the main compartment is difficult to pack. This is the compartment that takes a lot of effort. You're going to have to think about how you're packing it. It's also more difficult for you to get to your gear quickly. So you want to pack items that you don't need constant access to in it. Because if you need constant access to something and you put it at the bottom of your main compartment, you're going to have to pull everything else out every single time that you want to get access to it. That's dumb. That doesn't make sense. Don't do that. So like I said, that it's also more difficult to get to your gear quickly. So you'll want to pack items that you don't need constant access to in it instead. The most important thing in packing your bag is weight distribution. This is going to make or break your bag. So heavy items need to be in the center of the pack, near your back. You know, that way that you don't have, there's this thing called a lever, and you can use it to lift heavier objects than what you yourself can pick up or push. It's the same thing. It's scientifically, it's called a fulcrum. All right, you want your weight to be closer to a fulcrum point so that you don't end up having to use more energy and more effort in order to carry that weight. So let's keep the heavy items near the center of the pack, near our back. Now the medium weight items, they get packed around the heavy core. We keep all the weight possible at our spine. If weight is too high, you will be off balanced. So you want to keep your weight low. But if weight is too low, you'll lean forward to balance and you're going to overwork your back and your core. So you don't want it too low, you want to keep it fairly high. You actually want it a little bit above your hips because your hips are going to be somewhere around your center of gravity. Guys have a higher center of gravity than women do. Women have a lower center of gravity. So guess what? Your packing is going to be a little bit different as well. You're going to pack slightly higher than your center of gravity. And as you have the weight away from your back, it's going to move your center of gravity back closer to where it's supposed to be originally. Now we're talking about sleeping bag compartments, and they can be used for even more than just sleeping bags. You could use this pouch for the obvious. But I keep bags and tents strapped to the outside of my pack because they take up less space and they're easier to get to. This is valuable. Like, having space in your pack is extremely valuable. So I attach stuff to the outside all the time just so that I don't have to take up all the space. Hammocks and mosquito nettings go very well into this compartment. Keep the weight in this compartment light, since it's not designed or located in a spot that is good for heavy weight. The next is water bottle pockets, and I don't trust them. These are the mesh pockets on the side of your pack that have an elastic band to hold your bottles in. If you're going to use them, always tie your bottles to your pack so they don't fall out. That's a good pocket as long as you tie your bottles down. If you don't tie your bottles down, the second you have to lean over and do anything, your water bottles, especially if they're full of water and they have weight in them, they're going to fall out. And then you don't have a water bottle anymore because you're probably not going to notice that they fell out half the time. Now, the hip belt pockets. They are quick and convenient pockets. I keep small items that I want to get to quickly in these convenient little pockets. I don't need to remove my entire pack to grab a handful of trail mix. These pockets work really well for IDs, cash, cards, food bars, nuts, hard candies, you got to keep that blood sugar up sometimes, and other convenient items. You'll need your IDs because you'll probably want to use them. In almost any scenario, there are a lot of different scenarios that would take an ID. Somebody would want to see your ID. With cash, that's obvious. You might go into a store, like no joke, if you're hiking or something, there's a good chance that you're still going to be able to come up to a store. And this is not just bugging out. This is hiking. But with bugging out, you might be coming somewhere too and need cash. So having cash available up front is good. Having cards, like your credit card, debit card, stuff like that, and your different cards that you would normally carry, having those up front, that's not a bad idea either. Now, food bars, nuts, that's obvious. You're getting a little bit of food, you're getting a little nutrition, and a little bit of replenishment while you're hiking. The hard candies, those are used for, like for me, if I use a hard candy or like a gel shot or something like that, it's because I'm running. And usually around the time that I get to about 8 miles while running, I will pop a hard candy or something like that so that I can get my blood sugar back up a little bit. Once I get my blood sugar back up, I can keep running. And obviously any other convenient items that you want can go in these hip belt pockets. Now let's use the top lid pocket that I talked about to balance your pack. Okay, so if you don't have to get to the item all the time, you can place the lightweight stuff in your lid pocket so that you can fine-tune the weight balance of your pack. That's the really good spot for it. Now I like to throw trash bags and stuff in there because they're almost no weight and they take up very little space. And then there are other things that you can throw in there that are lightweight and they take up quite a bit of space, because this top pocket is pretty decent size, but it's not supposed to hold very much weight at all. Now the front pocket, I say the front pocket, if you've got the pack on, it's on your back. The front pocket is further back than the rest of the bag. If you are looking at your bag and your bag is sitting in front of you, then the front pocket is on the front of the bag. The front pocket is a convenient large pocket on your bag. It's another convenient pouch that is designed to keep you out of the main compartment. So once again, you'll still have to take your pack off to get to these items, but it is much better than unpacking everything in your main compartment. So let's keep all the light items that we'll be needing a lot in all of the outside pockets. The front pocket, the top lid pocket, the hip belt pockets, and even the sleeping bag compartment, and the water bottle pockets. Let's keep all of our light items in those that we're going to be grabbing a lot. Understand all the pockets, their designed intent, so that you can properly distribute the weight of your gear, which can save your back, shoulders, and knees a lot of pain. Understanding these amazing bag options is critical. Okay, so let's go over some bag options. There are probably a million options out there for a large number of bags you could use. If you don't want to choose the wrong one, it can be easy to choose the correct bag with all the correct options. You just have to listen to me for a few more minutes. Let's talk about all the options and functions that most bags have. You will need to decide what is best for you when the time comes with all the different options that are available on bug out bags. The following are going to be some typical options that many bags have: hip straps and hip padding, wide shoulder straps, compression straps, hydration bladders, airflow, daisy chains, pole loops, rain hoods, MOLLE compatibility, front straps. All right, so that's a lot of options, and we're going to go into each one. So let's start with the hip straps and hip padding. The hip straps are to disperse the weight onto your hips. Okay, the hip straps will disperse the weight onto your hips, and they are extremely comfortable because of the hip padding that they put into these straps. They know that they're going to carry the bulk of the weight, so they put a lot of padding into these straps. So why would you go against well-done design and use all the weight on your shoulders? Use these hip straps. That's what they're for. You can walk much further if you do this. The wide shoulder straps on your bug out bag are extremely advantageous. Narrow shoulder straps dig into your skin, and they always need readjusted. You're going to get blisters and sore muscles and everything else you can imagine if you're using narrow shoulder straps. So don't do that. And that's even that. If you are sweating a little bit and your shirt gets bunched up underneath your shoulder straps, narrow shoulder straps, this stuff's going to start cutting into your skin a lot. So it's actually pretty important for you to have wide, comfortable shoulder straps. Wider straps are more comfortable. Compression straps. Okay, so pack your bag, tighten down the bag with the compression straps. If you do this, you can pack more in it and make the pack smaller and tighter, and a smaller bag is closer to your back. This keeps the bag weight closer to your back, reducing fatigue. So you pack your bag, then you tighten it down with the compression straps. Another thing I do with them, which they were not designed for, I use them to help tie down items on the side of my packs. Hydration bladders are, I wouldn't say they're new, but they're relatively new when it comes to a lot of the different options that are available on packs. Hydration bladders they weren't big until probably about 2000. So yes, it's 15 years in the making, but they are relatively new compared to other options on bags. Water is heavy, it's inconvenient, but it is extremely important. When you have a bladder, you can keep it on your back, and you can hydrate yourself while you're moving. Now, once again, like I said, it's extremely heavy, but you can keep it on your back. Guess what? I told you all your heavy stuff goes on your back. That's why it was designed this way. Less unnecessary stopping is a good thing. So you can hydrate on the go, and you don't have to stop as much. That's always great. Most bladders hold about 2 to 3 liters of water. This is much more than a sports bottle holds. So, yes, you may have some sports bottles, but a water bladder is always a good option because it keeps the weight on your back, and it holds a lot more water than a couple sports bottles will. Because bladders are usually on your back, your fatigue is going to be a lot lower. Now let's discuss airflow channels or webbing. Sweating backs while hiking are uncomfortable. They get chafed and raw. When your shirt bunches up, it gets worse. All that weight in the pack pushing down on your back, and you're getting no airflow. There's a reason why they make people that are bedridden, they make them turn around, or they will turn the person around, because your skin has to breathe. It needs air. So, they've come up with a cool design for airflow channels or air webbing. Airflow channels or mesh webbing that allows your back to breathe as it sweats to reduce any problems. Now, daisy chains, they look like a handle on your front pocket. It's usually multiple loops so that you can hook stuff to it. Now, it's nice that most of the time, because these daisy chains are meant to hold gear and weight, they take these daisy chains and they separate one or two of them and they make a big handle out of it. So now you got a handle on your front pocket as well. That's why I said it looks like a handle on your front pocket. But I have one, and it's got probably 3 different daisy chains and a big handle, which also acts as a big daisy chain. This is nice for the odds and ends that you're going to attach with like a carabiner or something like that. Now, if you hike with poles and you don't want to hold them all the time, then try pole loops. Pole loops are an invaluable resource to hang your poles onto. But I don't use hiking poles, so I typically use these to attach or stabilize other gear. Now, tucked away in a Velcro compartment on a lot of bags that have it, rain hoods can keep your gear extremely dry. If you have one of these, it will allow you to pull it over your pack so water doesn't soak into it. Now the one that every prepper knows about, and if they don't, they really want to know about it, is MOLLE compatibility. MOLLE is basically a vinyl strap. Sometimes it's made of other material, but it's basically a vinyl strap that is stitched in 1-inch increments to make lots of points to attach to. MOLLE stands for modular, lightweight, load carrying equipment. The following items are just a few MOLLE compatible items that you can get, like tool sheaths, pouches, medical kits. Not only can you get MOLLE on a bag, but you can get MOLLE compatibility vests and all kinds of stuff, EDC packs and everything. MOLLE is very popular in the military, the gun-toting, and the prepper community. You're going to be using your front straps on your bag anyways, so you can also attach items that you'll need while hiking or orienteering to your chest and your shoulder straps. These are items that you have to get to all the stinking time. Items like a compass, a GPS, a whistle, small or medium-sized survival knife. These are things that it'd be nice to just grab them off of your pack. Instead of digging through pockets or anything for them, just grab them off the side of your pack or off the front, actually, the front of you, and use them. So you need to understand, that's why we go through it, but you need to understand the sizing, the compartments, and the options of bags so that you can choose the right one. By understanding the sizing, pockets, and options, you will have the knowledge and capability to make an informed choice when you go looking for a new bug-out bag. Now, if you couldn't take show notes because you were on the go, don't worry, I took detailed notes for you that you can find at theprepperpodcast.com. And if you enjoy the show, don't forget to subscribe to me using the Apple Podcast app. If you want to thank me for the amazing free information I bring you, please share my podcast on Facebook or Twitter, or give me a review on iTunes or Stitcher. And with that, this was Ken Jensen of theprepperpodcast.com, teaching you strategies on self-reliance so that you can build a more resilient, and enjoyable life. Have a wonderful week. This is Ken signing out.